Welcome back to my channel. I'm doing another creepy encounters stories. Yeah, so let's get started. The first one I'm going to read is very short. It's called Watch Your Kids in the Stores. So it goes, I'm young. I'm 30, so let me restart that. Sorry, hold on. I'm 30, so I'm kind of young, but I see this little girl at Walmart not too long ago running around the toy aisles. She must have ran past me 4 or 5 times, and every time she did, a man would be right behind her, bangs on her tail. For some reason, I could feel something was off. I stopped the little girl and asked her if she was lost. She said yes. I said, "This man isn't your daddy." And with almost tears in her eyes, she looked at him and slowly looked back at me and said no. I grabbed her by the hand and told her we were going to go up to the front to have them call for her mommy, as the man was in our aisle. I gripped her a little harder when we walked past him and went to the front of the store. Walking right past the man, looking him straight in the eye, and he just kind of gave me the side smirk that till today makes the hair raise on my entire body. Had I not stopped this little girl and brought her to the front to find her mom, I'm genuinely scared to know what would have happened to her. Moral of this story is keep an eye on your kid. Someone commented, and nope, he does respond. So someone commented, good for you asking a child. Let's say somehow it was the father, a parent couldn't be mad at you for making sure something wasn't going on with their daughter. What was the mother's reaction when she got to you? OP commented, OMG, so I got up to the front and they called out over the loudspeaker, and the little girl who was lost, thank God she knew her mom first and last name. She couldn't have been more than 4 or 5. When her mother got to the front, she was in tears. She hugged me and thanked me over and over again. I let her know about the man and why I took her to the front, and I believe the lady spoke with the manager about the man. I left after I knew the little girl was safe, but her mother was losing her mind looking for her. You could see the sheer terror in her eyes when she ran up front. So yeah. Luckily, it's a happy ending, but still creepy. I don't want to know what the man would do. So let's go on to the next story. It's called, I brought my 2 sons rape whistles to wear, and today they actually used it to alert me in a very alarming situation. I think the 2 of these stories are about kids, sorry. But anyway, let's continue. So here's the story of that. So my stepsons are 7 and 10. They play with 5 other boys in our area, which are of similar age, and all go to the same school in our neighborhood. Now there's a police station in our neighborhood, and we live in a city that is large, but we feel very safe here and have almost zero crime around us. So when they want to go to the parks or play with friends, husband and I agreed it's okay. They'll be gone for hours, going from house to house, swimming, jumping on trampolines, scootering, skateboarding. Sometimes they are all at my house and my pool. It's a good system. I am in texting with other parents, etc. So we have a pretty safe system. However, our state has been known for human trafficking because we are close enough to the border. It's just something I worry about. So I bought them bright orange rape whistles and tie them to their backpacks. Sometimes they all ride bikes to school together. At home, I had them each blow into the whistle as hard as they could so they knew how loud it was and to only use it for emergencies, which we've discussed emergency situations. Today, on break from school, the kids wanted to do a lemonade stand. Something in my gut told me to say no, that's not a good idea, even though they had their own little garage sale around Christmas to make money to buy gifts, and the neighborhood thought it was so cute. They actually got a ton of donations and made very good money. I didn't have any worries that time. Today was different for me though. As my older stepson was making his signs, I reminded him about interacting with strangers and he needs to watch his brother, so he asks me, should I bring my whistle? I said yes, great idea. I took it off his backpack and put it around his neck, and I told him, I'm going to leave the window open. If you feel scared or if something happens, you blow that whistle like there is no tomorrow, and I'll run outside. They were right on our street corner of our neighborhood, right where the main street through our neighborhood is, so a decent amount of cars go by. An hour or so goes by, and I'm into a documentary when I hear the fucking whistle and my stomach drops. And I dash outside to see a flash a flashy red car, like a Charger, I believe. I was running towards the kids, and so I wasn't paying close enough attention to the car, but I immediately see all kids are accounted for as Guy is getting back into his car. My older son tells me our younger son, who really likes cars, as does his dad. He goes to car shows and knows so much about cars. Husband has a GTR from Japan and another racing type car they work on together. That the man in the car got out and was talking to them, asking them their ages, and invited my younger son to get into his car. I literally told my older son earlier, do not get into or near anyone's cars. So he said he didn't feel safe anymore and blew that whistle as hard as he could. My son said the car was what's known as a Demon, which I believe is a Dodge Charger, red. That's what my son told the police. I got a good look at the guy at least, but didn't get the plates. He was getting into his car as I was making sure the kids were accounted for, and pounded the fuck out of his hood, asking him, why would you even invite a child into your car? Before he drove away, I wasn't thinking clearly and was in a bit of a panic, so I didn't get the plates. I was right there. I'm so pissed at myself for that. But the kids were all talking, and I just went into protective mode and called the police. The police said they searched our entire neighborhood for the car and put out a description of the guy in the car with a possible dented hood for me. And they put out an alert and are taking this very seriously. Taking this very seriously. So at least there is that. They have quotation marks, sorry. I'm so thankful for that $10 whistle I ordered on Amazon. Sometimes you just know when shit is about to go down. Still so shaken up about it, and all of the kids and parents are super concerned. We have a community website, and we posted about our encounter on the website for other parents to be aware as well. I don't know for certain that the guy was up to no good, but if he wasn't, why leave so suddenly, you know? I don't know. My view on safety has been wrecked, and it's going to take a while for things to feel okay again, I think. Make sure your kids have a plan for emergencies. They have intuitions also, and there's just something about that gut feeling you shouldn't ignore. It amazes me sometimes. There's an edit. So the car is actually a Dodge Challenger, not a Charger. Thanks to a fellow Redditor, upon seeing the difference, I'm certain it's the Challenger. My young son was actually right. I can't believe it. I showed them the two cars, and we all agreed it's actually a Challenger. Thank you, guys. It's a person. I don't know how it says. Thank you, Questoshi. And Questoshi actually comments saying, I'm glad your son was smart enough to use the whistle to alert you of the man being sketchy. I don't know if anyone has commented this yet, but a Demon would be a Dodge Challenger, not a Charger. Challengers have 2 doors, Chargers have 4. They look more like a sedan. I'm just sharing this in case you want to inform the police that the vehicle in question is a Challenger and not a Charger, because they are fairly different. Here's a link to a picture of the Challenger Demon in red, and here's a picture of a Charger in blue. Couldn't find an image that would link properly of one in red. But as you can see, they are fairly different. Also, while I wish that I could believe that this guy was just trying to let your son check out his car, because Challenger Demons are somewhat rare and quite expensive, the fact that he fled away rather than trying to explain what was going on and apologizing to you suggests to me that he most likely was trying to take off with your kid. I'm glad everyone made it okay. OP commented, holy shit, my kid was actually right. It actually was a Dodge Challenger, not the Charger. Why do the names have to be so similar? Thank you so much for clearing this up. OMG. And then the guy commented, hey, no problem. Figured I might as well put some of my car knowledge to use to help someone else out. I can't say definitely why the names are so similar, but I think part of it has to do with both cars targeting a similar market and the cars having similar insanely powerful engine options. They both came out at similar-ish times, so that might have something to do with it as well. So yeah. Someone helping out someone else. Be the person that helps. My cat is eating currently. So on to the last story that's fairly long as well. Okay, so the story is called The Man I Saw Through My Night Vision Scope. So it goes, I'm a hunter. I like to hunt wild boar specifically, though I have been deer hunting and have been known to get a turkey for Thanksgiving. I mostly hunt boar. If you don't know what a boar is, it's kind of like a pig, but bigger, and they have tusks. We have them in my neighborhood. We had to put up fences because wild boar would tear up our grass. So we finally put up a this is years ago, but they finally put up a gate, so legitimately no animals can come. I mean, a small animal could. I mean, a tiger could easily jump it, but you know what I mean. It's to deter them from coming into our neighborhood. So, but that's what a boar is. It's like a pig, usually bigger with tusks. Anyways, let's continue. For those of you that don't know, boar are a big problem in the United States. A sow can have 2 litters a year, and it's not uncommon for a litter to consist of 10 or more pigs. Given that pigs eat anything and everything, it's not hard to see why the Department of Fish and Wildlife makes it legal to hunt them, with almost no restrictions. In my state, it's illegal to hunt most large mammals with night or thermal vision scopes, with the exception of boar and coyote. I've been saving for a year, mostly fun money. It's hard to explain to your wife that a scope that cost literally twice as much as the rifle I was mounting it on was worth it. I promise you it's worth it, because then you can see at night when they come out. Then you said my cat was out back. When I say out back, we have a screened-in patio. Okay. Let's continue. But I did it. I took it to a range and sighted it in. There was an area that was peppered with boar activity that I knew would be perfect for a night hunt. It was easily accessible with my truck, with easy to find spots that I could set up in the overlook, a large, easy to navigate clearing. The night started uneventful, mostly me tinkering with my new toy, cycling through the settings. I was a little impatient. I'd spotted multiple deer, but they were out of season, and like I mentioned earlier, my current setup wasn't legal for deer. I moved to another spot I'd seen days earlier that probably wasn't much better than my first, but it gave me something to do and a new angle to look around my new scope. After an hour or so of glossing the area, it dawned on me. This spot doesn't have much animal activity at all. No rabbit or owls. The deer that I'd seen were hundreds of yards from where I was. Why was this pocket of land so dead at night, but lively in the day? I'd set up around 10 p.m. and it was about 2 a.m. when I started to think about packing up. Maybe setting up a target before I left and taking some practice shots. I heard a crunch come from the direction I came from before. I planned my scope over and saw the silhouette of a small bear pushing through the bushes. It's important to note that my scope isn't exactly night vision, it's a thermal scope. Kind of like a black and white version of what you see in the Predator movies. If you haven't seen any of the Predator movies, I highly recommend it. Just saying. Continue though. I adjusted my range and zoomed in a little. I remember jolting a little when I saw that it wasn't really a bear, it was a man, because he was so low and hunched over. I thought I was looking at a young bear. Is that a game warden? It couldn't be. I would have seen the headlights coming up the road from where I was perched. And where could he have walked from? I was 30 miles away from anything and on public lands. I was about to call out when I adjusted my sights and noticed he was naked, no shoes, pants, or anything. I remember being disturbed by his movements, like a squirrel or something, twitchy and grabbing at the foliage, sniffing around and palming the tree. Was that my tree, the one I'd been leaning against earlier? The thought terrified me. Could he smell me? Then he did something I still have nightmares about today. He squatted and placed his hands in the dirt behind his feet and started straight up like a dog mid-howl. And I heard it, a voice coming from the direction, a very compelling female voice. In quotations, I may have. Help, I'm lost. There was a long pause, but neither of us moved a muscle. The center of my sights was trained at the dirt in front of his feet. I couldn't bring myself to aim directly at another person. It went against everything I'd been taught about firearms. Were they lost? Was this some guy that had gone crazy out here? Why was his voice so feminine? Help, please, I can't walk, voice called out. That's when I called bullshit. Not only could he walk when I first saw him, he was traversing the land with ease for a naked person. So good I mistook him for a bear. That's a fucking trap. This guy is trying to lure me to him with a damsel in distress routine. Luckily, the lack of activity before had caused me to pack up most of my gear. I think I may have left behind a hat and a sitting pad, but I didn't give a shit in that moment. I took my eyes off him for a moment to get my pack on. I buckled my chest strap and scrambled for my rifle. To my horror, he was in the same position, but his face was staring in my direction, and I swear I saw a smile. The thermal scope has an effect that makes animals' eyes appear white. Most thermal black and white cameras do that. If you've ever seen Ghost Hunters, you'll know when they do the thermal, and they put in black and white and they plan it on someone, you can see their eyes turning white. It's creepy. Okay, anyways, how the hell had he heard me get up and put my gear on? He must have easily been 150 yards away. Fuck off, I screamed in that direction. He stood upright and it hit me how tall and skinny he was, easily 6 feet and very lean. He took a couple of long strides in my direction and I instantly sent around, sailing above his head into the tree line. He was freaky as hell, but he hadn't really threatened me. But would I tell the cops I was unwilling and unready to shoot someone? He stopped dead in his tracks and hunched down on all fours. The next one will fuck you up. Go away. He stayed on all fours, and this time I had my sights trained on the center of him. His eyes were just above the grass, like a large cat or something. I was trying to stop my trembling and knew that my voice had cracked a little on the last warning. I was terrified. That standoff probably only lasted a minute or two, maybe less. But it felt like forever. In an instant, he bolted left towards the tree line opposite the road. So much for not being able to walk. I could barely keep him in my scope. He was moving so fast. He disappeared into the brush, and I sent another bullet sailing high in his direction. I racked another round and tried to pocket the mag and swap for a fresh one. But I dropped it and didn't bother looking for it. I wasn't far from my truck and I wanted to get out of there. I could hear him in the distance yelling in this weird sound that could have been a laugh or cry. I scrambled up the trail and arrived at my truck breathless. I tossed my gear into the cab but kept the rifle in the passenger seat and sped off. For the longest time, I told the story from the perspective of having spotted some deranged crackhead living off the land, like some kind of caveman. I reported it to the Fish and Game, but all they did was scold me for hunting at night. Never received an update. It wasn't until I told this story at a camping trip that my nephew told me about wendigos, rakes, and skinwalkers. My story scared the piss out of him because the spot we were camping was technically the same forest I'd seen the bastard just 50 miles east of it. He was so spooked his mom, my cousin, had to take him home. She was really pissed. I've gone down the rabbit hole on these scary stories. I'm not saying what I saw definitely was a wendigo or a skinwalker. I'm saying that if such a thing exists, I may have dodged quite the bullet that night. Or maybe it was just a tweaker being Donnie Thornberry in the middle of the night. Either way, thought I'd share. Edit, believe what you like. These are events as I recall them, and no, I'm not a writer. But there's a link to questions. I'm not putting anything in there. The person commented, damn dude, that was a crazy read from start to finish. Whatever the hell was going on there, I'm glad you made it out okay. I'm not going to say I'm a firm believer in skinwalkers and wendigos, but could they exist? Possibly. I mean, there are so many parts of the U.S. that's unexplored that they could easily live. And if you don't know what a skinwalker is a shapeshifter. They will shapeshift into something that you perceive as a dog or a bat or an owl. So you don't know it's actually a skinwalker. You just think it's a bird or a dog or a horse. But that's my point. Like, they could exist. Could they possibly exist? Yes. I mean, look at our ocean. Only 5% of our oceans have been explored. So, but am I a firm believer? No. I need proof, but could possibly? Yeah, possibly. So yeah. that was the last story. So I'm actually gonna say this. Let me know down below if you think Wendigos, skinwalkers, any of that are real. Please don't unmute my comments. I'll turn off the comments real quick. This is all purely based off of your own opinion, or if you have something similar to the story, let me know down below in the comments. But with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next video, okay? So, if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe and turn on the bell notification, and I'll see y'all in the next video.